If you're in the market for a fully loaded all-wheel drive, family-friendly wagon, are you going to go with the Subaru Outback Touring XT? Or are you going to go with the new 2025 Toyota Crown Signia? In this video, we're going to compare all the features, take them for a drive, and then put them to the test. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. The Subaru Outback is incredibly popular. It's a flexible and fun wagon with lots of room for the whole family. But unfortunately, it's not yet available with a hybrid powertrain. This 2025 Toyota Crown Signia takes a lot of the ideas from the Outback, adds a hybrid powertrain, and some extra sparkle. In this video, we're going to compare key features, take them both for a drive, and then bring them back here to our Peninsula Proving Grounds to test out their off-road capabilities. Actually, I'm worried about the approach angle, the departure angle, and the breakover. Launched way back in 1955, the Toyota Crown is one of the longest running nameplates in the world. In fact, both Camry and Corolla are derivatives of the Crown name. Camry being an anglicized Japanese pronunciation of Crown, and Corolla, which is Little Crown in Latin. Toyota's 1972 Corona, yep, that is also Latin for Crown. These days, the Crown name adorns premium Toyotas sold here in North America. The first of these was a crossover sedan that launched in 2023, replacing the Avalon. What we have here is a wagon version called the Crown Signia, and apparently this one replaces the Venza. What we have here is a limited trim with a number of upgrades, including the advanced technology package, premium Bronze Age paint, all-weather mats, and connected services. Price as you see it here, you're looking at $52,585 US, including destination. The Subaru Outback is a top-end Touring XT trim, which comes fully loaded as it is. Price as it sits here, $44,356 US, including destination. That one is almost $8,000 less than the Toyota. So is it worth it? Let's find out. One of the main attractions of the Crown Signia is its hybrid powertrain, which is borrowed from the new Lexus RX. This features a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder mated to 3 electric motors for a combined output of 240 horsepower. The primary front electric motor produces a peak 199 pound-feet of torque. The rear only 89 pound-feet of torque. The gas engine all by itself produces a peak 178 pound-feet. So there's plenty of torques to go all around. Like the Subaru, the Crown comes standard with all-wheel drive. But here, the rear wheels are powered by a single electric motor, no drive shaft. The Subaru is a little bit more straightforward, with a 2.4-liter Turbo Boxer 4 producing a peak 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. It also has Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, which is enhanced with the X-Mode off-road traction system. And it might be of interest to know that the Lexus version of the powertrain in the Crown does require premium fuel. However, neither of these vehicles actually require it. You can just put regular unleaded, which is great. The Subaru Outback is expected to be all new in 2026, but at the time of filming, nothing official has been announced. So all the details that we're talking about here are related just to the 2025 models that we have available at the time of filming. In terms of horsepower, it might seem like the Subaru has an advantage, but all is not as it may seem, because this one relies heavily on electric motors, and electric motors have 100% of torque at 0 RPM, whereas the Subaru has a turbo, and that turbo needs to spool. So, which is faster in 0 to 60? Let's test. Now this is a mostly level road, good enough for today's test. Here, first, we're going to go ahead and switch the drive mode into sport. Just mash the throttle. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Power feels pretty good. Oh, now it's picking up. and 60, 7.43 seconds. I have the sneaky suspicion that the Subaru can beat that. In terms of drive modes, there's really nothing to do here. I just need to line up and go. So I am going to pre-stage very slightly because it's a turbo. Slight boost, 3, 2, 1, and go. A little slow off the line, but once it kicks in, boom. And 60 in 6.11 seconds. And I feel like if I really played with it, I could probably shave a little bit more time off of that. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a straight up launch, and it's 6.11, significantly faster than the Crown. Turbo wins. So while I'm driving here, let's talk about handling. Subaru uses a rally-inspired boxer motor setup that really puts the whole drive line, including the engine, very low in the chassis. That makes for excellent handling going around corners. Add a little throttle, you can feel very little body roll, it's very controlled, and of course it's coupled to a full-time all-wheel drive system, which they call symmetrical all-wheel drive. So it's the hardware setup in this that really makes this wagon drive like a rally car. But you know one thing that rally cars aren't known for? Fuel economy. That said, the Outback isn't bad. You're looking at 22 miles to the gallon in town and 29 miles to the gallon on the highway, according to the EPA. Those are solid numbers for a mid-size wagon with full-time all-wheel drive. But it is no hybrid. This Crown Signia hybrid, in terms of economy, absolutely destroys the Subaru Outback XT. The EPA rates this at 39 miles to the gallon in town and 37 on the highway. That's really good. And of course, it's optimized for around-town driving because of those electric motors. They really help economy in stop-and-go traffic. But even cruising down the highway, that is excellent MPGs. I mean, one thing Toyota knows is how to build a hybrid system. Here, the all-wheel drive system is mostly electric. That's because there's a dedicated electric motor in the rear axle that powers the rear wheels. There's no physical connection between the front and the back. That means that this is never going to feel like a rear bias system because it just doesn't have enough horsepower back there. But it does give you confident grip, which, you know, if you're buying a Toyota, is probably something you're considering. All-wheel drive for safety, not performance. And in terms of safety, yeah, that's what this delivers on. Unlike the Subaru, the all-wheel drive system in this vehicle is not full-time. It engages and disengages as necessary, only powering those rear wheels when it feels it needs to have added traction. When it does engage, it does it so quickly that I don't think most drivers are going to notice. However, if you want to have more all-wheel drive feeling driving experience all the time, the Subaru Outback is probably the better choice. Now, this is probably a good time to note that for 2026, the Subaru Outback is expected to be all new. We've already seen at least one test mule running around California. So even though there is a possibility of a future Outback hybrid coming soon, chances of it getting MPGs as good as this vehicle are pretty slim. However, my bet would be that it will have better all-wheel drive performance, because that, of course, is a trademark of Subaru vehicles. But that is all just a guess, because at the time of filming this today in December of 2024, we don't know anything about that new Outback's powertrain, hybrid or otherwise. The Subaru Outback is based on the now gone Subaru Legacy Wagon. That actually was introduced in the mid-90s at a time where car camping was extremely popular in Japan. That is why the Legacy Wagon has always been a longer, narrower vehicle. It accommodates sleeping in the back really well. So which of these two is better in that category? With all the seats down, it's completely flat. I'm 6'1" and I fit fully stretched out, which is fantastic. With the seats down, you get a sizable 75.6 cubic feet of total capacity in the back. Fold the second row back into place, and you're looking at 32.6 cubic feet. Now let's try the Toyota. Wow, this too is great. And of course I have a panorama sunroof so I can see out of the roof, which is a nice touch. It does feel like it's just a smidge shorter though in length. I think my feet are sticking out a little further. But overall, both are very good for car camping. With its sleek design, plus needing a little interior space for the hybrid batteries, the Signia is a little bit more snug. This one only has 24.8 cubic feet with the second row in place. Fold it flat for up to 66.1 cubic feet overall. In the second row, the Subaru does have more leg and hip room by about 2 inches. But at 6 feet 1, legs torso proportionate, I fit fine in both vehicles. Both vehicles also have a nice selection of passenger amenities, including fold-down armrests, power, and vents. Both even offer seat warmers to the second row, which is great to see. In terms of size, both these vehicles are pretty closely matched. The Crown Signia is 194.1 inches long and 74 inches wide. The Outback is 191.9 inches long and 74.6 inches wide. So it's interesting that the Subaru has more second row legroom, and that's possibly because the Toyota has batteries that take up a little extra cabin space. The Outback XT does have a smaller wheelbase at 108.1 inches with 8.7 inches of ground clearance. The Crown Signia has a longer wheelbase at 112.2 inches and a mere 6.7 inches of ground clearance to its name. A longer wheelbase is generally better for driving on the highway, but a short wheelbase is really good for maneuvering in small spaces. Let's compare turning radiuses between these two vehicles. Get that rear wheel in line with the cone, full crank, and now let's see how big this turning radius is. Now, of course, the Outback has a shorter wheelbase, so it should, in theory, have a smaller turning radius. But it's not just wheelbase that determines turning radius, it's a number of items, so maybe it doesn't. Let's find out. I'm gonna line it up, get that rear wheel in line with the cone, crank the wheel all the way, and we'll see how tight this turns. Oh yeah, better than the Toyota by just a little bit. I mean, frankly, just enough to matter. That's nice. The front cabin is where the Crown Signia really steps things up over the Outback XT. The leather-trimmed power seats feel like they're straight out of a Lexus. The gauge cluster is fully digital with modern graphics, and the widescreen infotainment system supports maps, XM satellite radio, wireless Apple CarPlay, and a lot more. It also has paddle shifters, a heated steering wheel, and both heat and cooling on the front seats. The Outback XT Touring also has leather seats that are heated and cooled, but they don't quite feel as luxurious as the Toyota. I do like the soft materials on the dash though, it's a nice touch. The gauges are traditional here, and they flank a small color multifunction display. Perhaps one of the low points of the Subaru is its infotainment system. It's functional. I do like that it's vertical, as I find this works best with mapping apps. But the graphics are poor by modern standards, and it's just not a great looking screen, especially when compared to the Toyota. And then there's the rear view camera. Subaru really needs to step things up in this category. The Crown Signia not only has a higher resolution camera, it also provides a full surround view. One of the main considerations for families buying wagons like this is it safe? Subaru's eyesight system is fantastic. It uses a 3-camera setup to both detect cars, collisions, and people. And it also provides adaptive cruise control with lane centering. So I just have to hit one button there and then hit set, and now my target speed is set and I am rolling down the road. Now I can also hit the steering wheel and then it'll activate the auto steer system, which, yeah, this is still a hands-on adaptive cruise lane centering system, but I can take my hand off the wheel just to show it to you, and like, it doesn't want to get out of the lane. This is a very solid system. It'll even steer right back in. All good to go. Now this does use the driver tracking system to also make sure that my eyes are looking ahead, and it will notify me if I am turned away for too long of a period. Eyesight is already very good. In the next few years, we should see a next generation eyesight that'll take things a bit further with an autonomous mode, but we're not quite there yet. Toyota has a lot of this covered as well with their Safety Sense 3.0 system. It just uses different technology to kind of achieve the same result. Collision and pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alerts, rear auto braking, blind spot warning. This one even has front cross traffic alerts, which the Subaru does not have. That's an extra plus. And of course, this has adaptive cruise control with lane centering. To turn it on, all I do is hit a button up here and boom, we're off to the races. Now I can switch between both adaptive and standard cruise control modes. It's a simple toggle here if you want to play with that. And of course I can increase and decrease speed. I also want to turn on my lane detection. When everything goes green, it'll now keep me centered in the lane. Now this is a hands-on adaptive cruise system. I'm only taking my hands off the wheel so you can kind of see how well it tracks down the middle. Even give it a little force and it puts us back in the lane. It's a very good system. I kind of am still surprised that other manufacturers aren't including systems like this or are charging extra when Toyota just includes it, which is great.
One up in the Subaru, this Signia Crown did come with the Traffic Jam Assist system. This is an autonomous system that functions on freeways at speeds under 25 miles per hour. As the name implies, it's really good for sitting in traffic.
Outside of the powertrain, perhaps the second most important difference between these two vehicles is their off-road trail capabilities. So I've talked a lot about how this all-wheel drive system uses a dedicated electric motor in the rear. So how well does it do in a full throttle, slippery condition? Will it push a lot of power to the back? Will we feel it? Can we even see it? I'm going to go full throttle right now on gravel, and we're going to see how this looks with the slow motion camera. Now we just did the Toyota, and it was definitely a front-wheel drive prominent system that only kicked in that rear electric motor kind of when it needed it. There are no drive modes to play with, so all we're going to do is mosh the throttle and see what happens. 3, 2, 1, and go. Woohoo! As speed builds, I can feel a lot more force going to the rear wheels. Let's just try it with traction control off. I know I didn't do it with the Crown that way, but I'm just curious here. Dynamics off. That should work. Okay. Let's line up. And 3, 2, 1, punch it. Woohoo! That's fun. So as you can probably see in the slow motion replay, there is a lot more wheel spin in the back with the Subaru because it's just going to put more power back there. The little electric motor in the Toyota just really doesn't put a lot of juice back there. So the Subaru Outback XT comes standard with Subaru's X-Mode off-road system. This shifts power from the wheels with no grip to the wheels with grip. It uses brake vectoring to remove wheel spin from those wheels that are basically dangling in the air or have no grip. It's a solid system that I've used in numerous conditions over the years. Now there is a more advanced X-Mode called X-Mode Type 2 that is available in the Subaru Outback Wilderness and some of the other models. That one just basically allows for additional wheel spin. It's good for deep snow and mud. This one doesn't have it, but given the target of this vehicle, I think that's just fine. I'm glad to see they at least have the basic X-Mode here. So I'm going to put it into drive. If you watch the show a lot, you know that normally we go the other direction. However, for a number of reasons, we're going to reverse the direction in the future here for this particular course. And the main reason is actually that we added a hill descent control section at the end going this direction. Another reason for the change, when the sun is low in the winter months, it's not in my eyes if I'm driving this way, where I'm totally driving into the sun the other way. So it also makes it easier for me to both drive and film. So the first thing we're now going to encounter is this lip. That usually was the test to see if we could go over the logs. But in this case, we're going to use it now kind of like a gatekeeper. If you can't get over this tiny little bump, then you can't go in the course. It's going to go up and over. No rubbing whatsoever. Didn't really expect it though. I mean, the Outback here has excellent ground clearance. And there we go. And continue down. Now the whole point of this exercise is not to just jam through here with momentum. It's really to let the vehicle do the work. And when you see it do the work, that's how you know that it's going to function on mud or in snow, and it's going to shift that power around when you need it. So right here, we're just spinning tires because you know what? I don't have X mode on yet. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Now I add a little throttle and you'll see wheel braking, kicking that power from the wheels spinning to the wheels with grip. Works really good. I'm going to dip in deep where the stump is. Deep as possible. Try not to rub on that tree. Here we go. Max lean. Oop, little rub there. And now let's see how well we climb out. Add a little throttle. Let X mode do the work. We climbed right out. Nice. Now we have a new hill descent control section that's not quite done being built, but I am curious if the breakover on this vehicle will be sufficient to get over it. But it may not be successful because I've literally never run a vehicle down it. Not sure if the measurements make sense yet, so let's give it a try. Also, I should note that the access trail is just roughed in at this point. This is a breakover issue as we go over an old rotten stump. The nice thing is that the stump is soft. Oh yeah, no problem. Stick an X mode on, swing it around. Now let's see if our breakover works on this. I don't know if it's going to. Oh, that's steep. It's about 30 degrees, maybe 32-ish. So this is a very steep drop. Huh. So I'm going to make sure that I swing around to get as straight as an axis as possible so I don't drag that inside line. Okay, let's do this. Let's swing it a little bit harder. I think we're probably going to drag. I think I need to cut it a little bit more. How are we looking? Yeah, our wheels aren't down yet and we're already dragging. So looks like I need to do some more work on this. I don't want to make a hill that only vehicles with 12 inches of ground clearance and massive breakovers can actually accomplish. So we will revisit this in a future video. But hey, look at that. It's coming along. Now I got to back out of here. This is also where I wish we had a better camera on this thing. This rear view camera is just atrocious. So the Subaru got through that trail no problem. I know we can do even more advanced trails with it, but that's beyond the scope of this particular video. Now let's see how well the Crown Signia deals with that same trail. For those who watch the show regularly, you probably remember that we did do a Crown sedan through this same course, and it had a real struggle getting through because there is no trail mode in these vehicles. At least there wasn't with the sedan. On this one, we don't have a trail button, but I am hoping that because it's a wagon, maybe Toyota has added some trail logic. So we're going to find out if it has that. So let's go ahead and hit drive. 6.7 inches of ground clearance. How's this going to work out for us? Now I am seeing on the little chart here, it does show that my all-wheel drive system is functioning. It's using all four wheels here at low speeds, which is kind of what you would expect. Oh, a little bump. Oh, but just a graze. Nice, we got through it. Cool. Now let's do the rest of the course. Okay. Watch for that tree there. Okay, continuing on. Definitely worried about that approach angle. Actually, I'm worried about the approach angle, the departure angle, and the breakover. But really, I want to make sure I don't crunch my nose on something here. Okay, right here is where we're going to do some climbing. See the all-wheel drive system doing some work. I'm hearing some wheel braking. So let's get into that seesaw motion right here. I'm just going to add a little throttle. Gets right through. Way better than the sedan. Good job, Toyota. Big improvement. Let's go a little wider there. Ooh, a little rub. Yeah, clearances are definitely an issue on this thing. Down to the hole, as deep as we can get. Probably lifting a wheel in the back. Let's see if we can climb out here. I'm just using gentle throttle. I'm not using momentum, and that's on purpose. So I want to see what the vehicle can do, not what gravity can do. Boom, there we go. Brake vectoring gets us up and out. Nice. Both the Subaru and the Toyota were able to get through our easy trail, and that's kind of expected. What I didn't expect was that this vehicle would actually have wheel braking to be able to shift torque from the wheel that was spinning to the wheel with grip. I'm really happy to see it here, especially since it was not in the Crown sedan, which we tested last year. Kind of a nice surprise. But because of approach, departure, and breakover, as well as just the general overall low ground clearance on this vehicle, clearly if you're going to be doing trails, the Subaru Outback XT Touring is the far better choice. This really wasn't designed for trails, and from behind the wheel, yeah, you feel it. No matter which of these wagons you choose, they both drive nice, look great, and have plenty of room for the whole family. What it's probably going to come down to is, do you want a more modern and luxurious interior like in the Crown, or do you want a good enough interior along with more off-road capability in the Subaru? So in the end, yeah, either choice is pretty good, but they clearly do have a difference in the way that they approach things. Which of these would you choose? Post a comment below. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you. I hope you enjoy them, and we'll see you again right here real soon.